Hey Night Fighters, Augie from TNVC with another Night Vision Minute. Today we're going to talk a little bit about basic helmet setup. A little disclaimer before we begin. This is a way to set up your helmet. This is not the only way to set up your helmet. I am not saying that you are stupid if you set your helmet up a different way. This is just the way that I like to set up my helmet. You know, it's one of those common questions that we get. Okay, you know, I've got my night vision device. I've figured out what night vision I want to get. I figured out what helmet I want to get. What else do I need? So what else do you need? The very first thing that you're going to need when you set up your helmet, you're going to need to figure out what kind of mount that you want, what kind of mount that you need. I stick to the basic Wilcox G24 standard mount for US SOCOM. Dovetail style mount works well for both monoculars and binoculars. Attached to the standard shroud, so it's a universal pattern, so it will fit in most standard night vision shrouds from OpsCore, Wilcox, or Neurotos. So the next consideration that you may have in terms of configuring your helmet is whether or not you want to use some sort of counterweight system. So right here, I've got the TNVC Mohawk Mark I counterweight. So it really is just that, you know, it is a helmet mounted platform, and inside of here, you have got 4 user configurable lead weights. So you can have anywhere between 4 ounces to a full pound of counterweight. And what this does is it basically allows the helmet to balance better, especially when you have a night vision device mounted on the helmet without a counterweight. Your helmet might have a tendency to want to droop forward. So this counterweight allows you to maintain a better balance. It makes it more comfortable during long time wear. It reduces neck fatigue. So counterweight may or may not be something you want to consider. Another potential item to consider is if you have something like this L3 Harris BNVD, so this has the capability to accept external power. So you can use, rather than having a standard counterweight, you can have some sort of external battery pack. You know, there are a couple of different styles and a couple of different types of external battery pack. This is the PVS 31 battery pack. The L3 Harris cold weather battery pack uses 4 AA's, has these built-in IR strobes, and it uses this BNVD connector and 25-inch cable, and it can plug into the night vision device. And this one is sitting in a TNVC Mohawk Mark III, which is specifically designed for the L3 Harris CWBP. So that's one big consideration. Once you've got that taken care of, another thing that people are often wondering about is helmet-mounted illumination. This is sometimes one of those things that causes the most controversy. How much supplementary illumination do you want to have on your particular helmet? You take a night vision device like this PVS 31, unlike most night vision devices, doesn't actually have a built-in IR illuminator. Whether it's the Artemis or DTNVS or even the L3 BNVD 1531, they'll have an onboard IR illuminator. That being said, generally speaking, I like to have 2 different types of lights on my helmet. For me, I like to have a small admin light like this Princeton Tech MPLS. And so what this gives me, I have a little red LED and a little white LED, 2 different intensity levels for both the red and the white. This is if I am trying to do something administratively, you know, I want to read a map, or if I need to check my notes or something, I can use this little flex neck and I can have a small amount of illumination. On the other side here is a little bit more of a higher powered mount. This is a TNVC exclusive variant of the Surefire V1. This is a dual spectrum light, so it gives me both IR and white light. And you can change that by twisting the bezel of the light. It also has 2 output settings in both IR and white light. There's a low and then a high illumination. This allows me, whether I'm conducting some sort of SSE, if I'm driving some sort of open cab vehicle like an ATV or something like that, and I want some IR illumination ahead of me, it's a good option for something like that. And you can see on this fast carbon, I also have same 2 basic sets of lights. The big difference that you might notice between these 2 helmets, besides the fact that one is ballistic and one is non-ballistic, is that on this fast SF carbon, I have helmet-mounted OpsCore amps. Helmet-mounted ear protection, helmet-mounted comms allows me to keep the comms headset on these arms and keep them mounted to the helmet. This is not only a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more convenient, but also, if you see the way these lock in, you can probably tell my head is a little bit wider than that. So helmet mounted comms will also actually aid in a little stability while the helmet is worn. At the same time, depending on what you do, you find yourself in a situation where you may or may not be taking your helmet off frequently, but may still need access either to your hearing protection or to your comms. It may make more sense not to have helmet-mounted hearing protection. So with this helmet, I typically use this with standard over-the-head mounted comms, and then I put the helmet on over it. It is a little bit less convenient than having it mounted to the helmet, but on the flip side, I don't have to carry around 2 different headsets or have to pull my headset off of the helmet in order to just use standalone comms or hearing protection. So those are some considerations that you might take into account when you're configuring your helmet for night vision usage. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments.